Well, how about it, y'all? This is Daniel Nicholson with Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. I think we're gonna have an exciting video today. That's because we have a little bit of a surprise today. This morning, we had our first Kiko babies hit the ground. We're actually 2 days early, but it's a doe that I was actually kind of suspecting yesterday afternoon. She's kind of starting to seclude herself a little bit. Her bag was full as it could be, but she's behind me over here, and she's got triplets. The first set of triplets we've had in a while. We didn't have any last year. We had a set 2 years ago, but one of them was really small that we pulled. But this is a really good mom. I've had her for a while. She's produced really good daughters for us in the past, and she's got 2 little girls and a little buck. So we'll flip the camera around, and we also have another new mama up by the barn. I'll show you her as well. So these are our 3 new little Kiko babies. The 2 standing up are actually the 2 doelings, and the one laying down is a little buckling. But they're all pretty decent size to be triplets for sure. I think they're all, I know I've seen them all get up and move. They were born some point this morning. I come by the farm about 9:30 this morning. They are here. So they've up and moving. They're actually born over there. So they've moved around. They felt like their tummies were full a little bit this morning. Mama looks completely deflated compared to what she looked like. And it looks like they've kind of only been sucking on one side, but maybe they'll figure out that other side when they get a little stronger. But like I said, this is a good mom. Not too worried about it. This little baby right here, I noticed earlier, you kind of see how its leg is a little bent. It's got a little bit weak in the back end, but it should be just fine. They're up and moving and eating. That's all we can ask for. You got some pretty little babies, mama. So those babies are actually out of our buck Clyde, and this is our second go around, or second season of his kids hitting the ground. He was pretty much the father of all our babies last year. So those babies are for sure going to be 3/4 Kiko. That doe is actually a commercial Kiko, so those are pretty much full Kiko, but for sure they're 100%, not 100%, for sure 3/4 Kiko. And so this little baby, but it's a little bit different with this baby. This is our first Thunder baby. So let me get up here and show you this girl. So this was the other baby that was born this morning, and he is going to be out of Thunder, and this doeling is out of Clyde. So first time mom, she's doing really well. The only reason I have her locked up in the stall is because her mom was trying to claim this baby whenever I got here this morning. That's not unusual. Whenever you got pregnant does, they think that if they got a baby on the ground beside them, sometimes they think it's theirs. But he's a pretty little guy. He's a big guy. He's loud when I carried him earlier. But his tummy still seems to be full. Kind of marked up pretty. Mama seems to be doing a good job. We're probably going to keep her in here with him for at least a day to make sure that grandma doesn't try to claim the baby again. But good looking little buck kid. So our new gates are already coming in handy. Got her locked up in this little stall. I'm gonna leave her in there, like I said, for probably a day. She's got water, gave her a little bit of grain, just to make sure that bonding process solidifies. Just because grandma was trying to take the baby, I want to make sure that baby's getting enough to eat, because this doe, I was not expecting to have kids yet. And she doesn't have the biggest milk sac, but I'm feel sure that this baby is getting enough to eat, because like I said, this morning when I got here, his belly was full. As long as he's up and nursing and keep stimulating her to milk, her milk would drop. So maybe her bag will fill up. Her mom doesn't have the biggest bag either, so I feel like he's getting enough to eat. We'll just, like I said, leave him in there to let him bond some. But actually, yesterday afternoon, me and my brother set up our Premier One netting in this little corner of the pasture. And what I think we're gonna do to this afternoon is try to get all our mamas over here, including the triplets, and let them start grazing there. And what I'm gonna do with the goats, starting them off on this Premier One netting, and while they're having kids, is I'm just gonna kind of not leave a back fence, I guess. We're gonna give them a section. The next day, we're gonna move the fence some and just keep it moving and not put up a fence back them. So we're not technically strip grazing, but we are holding them off of the whole pasture until till the next day, I guess. We'll just give them a little section every day, and hopefully that'll allow our pastures to stay parasite free. We don't graze all the grass at one time, but also we're going to give access to the mamas and the babies to the barn and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna open this gate. We're gonna see if we can get some does up here, get them filtering through, and then I need to move the steers into the pastures that the does are in, get them out of the way for kidding season. But before we do that, I need to run up the road and get some pig feed. I'm gonna show you our new pasture that we just secured. We'll take a quick look at it. We're not gonna spend too much time up there. I've got a lot to do today. But the guy that had cows up there left a barrel of feed up there, said I was welcome to it. So I'm gonna bring it home and feed it to our pigs. So I'm gonna open this gate. Hopefully the goats start making their way up here and see if we get them in our new Premier One fence. They're making their way. Come on, girls. Maybe they won't realize that fence is not on quite yet. I haven't got it hooked up yet. This is actually the grandma. She can hear still calling for the baby. But you look at her rear end, she has obviously not had a baby. And you look at the mama's rear end, and she has definitely had a baby. So all the goats moved. We're gonna see if we can get the mama with the triplets up here. Now for the fun part, to see if I can carry 3 babies at the same time. I know I can't carry 3 babies and record at the same time. So let me get them up there to the barn, get mama moved, so we can bring these steers into this pasture. Got some pretty babies, mama. Got some real pretty babies. So we do have success getting them up here. If there was a smaller one out of these 3, it's gonna be this little girl. And that's just by filling their stomach, but I can see poop coming out the rear end. So she's definitely ate, got some colostrum. Along with this little guy over here, I was worried about, you know, if he's getting enough to eat. But he does have some poop on his leg where he has ate, standing in the food tub. Now we can get something better for him before too long. But everybody looks good. We're gonna run up the road real quick and grab some pig food, and I'll show you that little lot that we just got permission to put goats on. This is the new pasture that we have permission to put animals on. I got permission about 6 months ago to do this, but there was a guy that I know pretty well that had 2 steers on here that he was raising out to butcher. They just butchered the last one, and he's downsizing his whole cow operation. Said he wasn't going to be using this anymore, and the lady that owns it, my mom, actually cuts her hair. So we're going to be putting some kind of animals up here. The fence is not in the best shape, needs a good bit of work. Not sure exactly what the plan is. It's not big enough where we can bring the steers up here and rotate them real well. So this might honestly end up being where we keep our billy goats in the future. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's 1 acre, right at 1 acre. I'm gonna give it some time to rest. You can see where the cows had it pugged up pretty good. And it'll probably be 2 or 3 months before we touch it. But we're gonna come up here and spray the fence line so we know what kind of fence we're working with. So like I said, that's only 1 acre right there. Pretty good fescue on it. It's not a big piece of property. It needs a little bit of work. I don't want to put a lot of money into it, but it's free of charge, and we need some more land, so we need to make the best out of it. We can't be too picky right now, and honestly, having a place where we could keep our bucks, that place right there for 2 or 3 bucks, where you could rotate them around and just do exactly what we're doing at the house. Sorry, I don't have my seatbelt on, about a mile from the house, but we can rotate them around like we're trying to do with the goats at the house, and they'd have plenty of grass up there. We keep them there all year long except for when it's time to breed. So that's probably what we're gonna end up doing with that little piece of property. It is kind of secluded. There's a house right beside it, but the lady that owns the property is actually in a nursing home, so she doesn't live there. There's not another house close, so predators is an issue there as well. So need good fence, possibly need to be getting a guard dog to put up there with them. That property's so small, I might think about getting a miniature donkey or something. I don't really want to do that. I hope Maddie doesn't watch this video. She's been after me for a mini donkey for a while. But need a good fence to keep a dog in and goats in. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes, and we'll make a decision when it comes time. Like I said, we're gonna spray the fence, get it real clean, and then we'll see how much work we have to do to the fence. But I guess this video, I might call it New Beginnings. We got new baby goats. We're starting to rotate our goats with our Premier One fence, and I just showed you the new little tract of land that we're able to use. Got the feed loaded up. We're gonna head back to the house, get the pigs fed up, move some steers, and double check on these baby goats, make sure everybody's good, make sure tummies are full before I head to the house this afternoon. So we're back at the farm now. Went ahead and fed up the pigs. It's been about 45 minutes since our goats have been in our Premier One fence. I've got it hooked up to the hot wire. I actually just saw one get shot. So they're respecting that. That's a good thing. But behind me, I've got a lane with our Premier One fence set up from the pasture that the steers are in. Got my truck blocking a hole and this gate propped up on my tailgate. So we're gonna go ahead and bring the steers up this lane, lock them in the corral right here. I've got the goats locked out, set up a lane for them to graze for the next day. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know how much I'm gonna film of it. I need to move pretty quick. I got several other things I need to do this afternoon, but we're gonna get them to a new spot this afternoon. I know they're gonna wanna stop and graze, but we're gonna try to keep them moving. This fence is not hot. I don't think they'll test it. We'll just get behind them, kind of put a little pressure on them, move them on up the fence line. It's been about 4 weeks since they've been up here in this pasture, and the goats were in here grazing it down a good bit. But you know, we don't want to bring them in here with the goats, with the baby goats. They just came from the back pasture, so this is the next spot for them. And I really want to kid out in this pasture. It's close to the dirt road, so when our parents are leaving or coming back and forth during the day, if they see a goat that's kidding, they can call me. We also have access to the barn, so we're back on that grass a little too soon, but we're still figuring all this out. And we do want to continue to move them every day, so this is our option. We're gonna open up this gate. I've already set up a lane yesterday. Hopefully they'll just walk down it. And I drop this wire down here. Gotta unhook this, move it out the way. Try not to get shot, it is hot. Hopefully they don't test that, we'll see. Come on, boys. Let's go to some fresh grass. Walk down to the end. Come on. Don't take a right. Keep going straight. There you go. Go around the gate, don't go in the corner. Come on. All right, boys, let's walk gently by my truck and not kick it, okay? Come on. Turn around. Hey. Come on. Good job. Y'all hang out in here for a minute while I get your fence set up. Well, all right, we got some water filling up. I've got 2 days worth of pens set up for these 2 steers. Tomorrow afternoon, I've got some stuff to do. Not sure if I'm gonna film it yet or not. Me and Maddie's building a bed. We got to go to a sawmill and cut some posts for our bed. I might make a little short video out of it. We'll have to see. I might can tie it into some hopefully new babies tomorrow. But we've got their 2 lanes set up. We'll go ahead and push them out of here. And they'll be in there one day and then the next. Let them go to graze. There's some good fescue at the top end of this pasture that's pretty much recovered. The goats really don't touch the fescue too much. The cows love it. So pretty big lane right here just because we don't have much grass right in front of the pig pens. But there's some good grass here. And then we've got the same size lanes that we used last time. They're about 24 foot. That's at least how far my T-posts are. Go 2 T-posts and then it's gonna be 200 foot across, a little bit bigger than what they were just in. So hopefully they won't hit it as hard. But got the water filling up. So I went ahead and got all the water filled up. I moved the mineral in here for the goats, their protein tub. I went ahead and set up the fence for them tomorrow. The last thing I'm gonna do this afternoon for the goats is I'm gonna set out these half 55-gallon drums for the baby goats. If you haven't been following our channel the past couple years, I got this idea from Arms Family Homestead. Actually, he takes a dog house and basically splits it in half and basically creates these little houses for the goats. And I didn't have access to a bunch of dog houses, but I have access to a bunch of 55-gallon drums. So what I did is just cut one in half, and I lay these down. Hold on, let me get one down and I'll show you. Just lay them down just like that. Baby goats will get underneath there. It kind of acts as a little mini greenhouse. It'll be 10 of them piled in one of these, and they just get in there. It holds their body heat, gets them out of the way so the mamas don't step on them. Very easy, cheap to do. Most people can get their hands on 55-gallon drums. I've got several of these, so I'll just kind of spread them out throughout the barn and give the babies several options of places to hide and get out of the way of the mamas. So we should have babies just keep hitting the ground from now on. We are still 2 days away from what I had written down for 150 days. But sometimes you get them a little early. I think last year we had one a day early. Today we had 4 2 days early. But we've got several mamas in here that still got pretty big bags ready to go. So we should have some more babies on the ground, even maybe tomorrow morning. But the triplets are doing good. The one that I said was a little bit smaller than everybody else is up eating. So hopefully this mama's going to take all 3 of them. She acts like she is now. She's a really good mom. I'm not too worried about her taking care of them. I just worry if she can support them and support herself. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. If somebody falls behind, maybe if we have a mom that loses a baby or something like that and we need a surrogate, maybe we can graft one. If not, hopefully we don't have to bottle feed. I don't want to try to bottle feed any babies this year. And so hopefully she's going to do her job and all 3 of these little babies are going to make it. I didn't bring my ear tags up here today. I forgot my ear tagger at work. I let somebody borrow it and it's sitting on my desk or in a drawer. So I'll bring the ear tagger back tomorrow. I've got new ear tags from Premier One. We've got 2 sets. We got a green tag and a yellow tag. The yellow tags are going to be Clyde's babies. The green tags are going to be Clifford's, not Clifford, Thunder's. Clifford was our old boar buck. Thunder's ear tag, so we know what little females belong to who. I'll explain how we number our ear tags as well. Maybe we can throw that in a video tomorrow with milling that wood. We'll have to see. But these 3 are doing good. This little guy over here, I mean, he's a big baby. He's up moving. He's hollering a bunch. He's up about every 2 minutes trying to suck. So I'm wondering if he's getting enough milk. His stomach feels like he has some. I actually caught that mama just a second ago and squeezed both teats. She had milk coming out of both of them. The more he stands up and nurses, the more it's going to stimulate her to drop her milk and hopefully she's gonna drop enough. I'm gonna stop by here first thing in the morning on my way to work and check on her, check on the rest of the goats, make sure nobody's had babies, and just make sure everybody's all right. But I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us this afternoon. If you're wanting some more baby goat videos, they're coming, I promise you. We should have, I think I've counted 28 does out of our 34 that's got bags. So we should have at least 26 more does to kid out. So several videos coming on this. We're gonna show you the whole process of how these baby goats are born. Hopefully we'll catch some on camera being born, how we raise them, how we wean them, and all the whole 9 yards. So what we've been doing on the channel for about 2 years now. We're gonna try to capture a little bit more this year. But I really appreciate you hanging out with us. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, and we'll see y'all in the next one.